Howdy y'all, my name is Scott. I'm the author of Rivet Stone, and it may be just some author, but let me tell you, writing villains can be a lot of fun. I think there's a huge cathartic about we're getting to write the dialogue and actions of these characters and just really just making the absolute just rudest pieces of just they're mean people, right? And it can be a lot of fun to sort of write these antagonistic characters, and it's super easy to kind of fall into guys who are just mean or just evil for evil's sake. And that's not to say that these sorts of characters don't have a role in writing or in storytelling. I think sometimes a simple story needs a simple villain, or even to your audience, if you're writing a children's book, you don't need a I mean, it's okay if it's just like a mean bear or something like that. Like you don't have it doesn't have to be that complicated. But I mean, again, these are children. Let's assume that we're writing like YA or fantasy or something, more for like 18-year-olds, something like that. And a good way of sort of giving yourself some sort of guideline to keep you from just straying for evils to evil's sake is to remember that villains don't typically see themselves as evil. Almost they see themselves as a perversion of the protagonist. They see themselves as the protagonist in this world. It's very common that they feel that they are the only ones who have the power to change something or to keep something a certain way, or they're the ones with the ideas and other people just don't understand it. In a lot of ways, they sort of share the same sort of energy and passion that you often see with protagonists. They want to act upon the world, these villains. They want to act upon the world, and they feel like they're the only ones who can save it or change it or keep it the way it is. And even if, perhaps they're like, well, yeah, I mean, okay, yeah, slaughtering a whole family, that's probably not the best thing in the world. They'll justify those things. They'll be like, the only way I could have saved this entire kingdom is by, shanking a whole family. Like, I can't, maybe, probably not to that extreme, but they understand that they have to make these sort of tough decisions because they feel like they're protagonists. They feel like they are in the right. And what's great is that not only when your sort of main protagonist and antagonist sort of collide, it's not just a sort of fight against power, it's also a fight of ideals. And there's so much potential that you can breathe into these villains and make them a very complex villain that they're much more interesting to read. And personally, I think even way more interesting to write. So hopefully that helps. Give it a like, give it a sub, and let's get published.